Hi, and good afternoon. Welcome back to our WHW webinar series. My name is Sharon, the Business Director of eLearning Minds, and I'm your host today. All right, a few quick housekeeping matters before we kickstart. All right. Okay, please check to ensure your name list in the webinar is correct so that we know who you are. Be patient if you have any technical glitches. Stay, participate, and you can use the chat room to interact with us, all of us here. Okay. If you have any question for a speaker, post them in the chat box, and we will try our best to address all your questions at the end of the sessions. Lastly, and more importantly, please remember to engage, learn, and enjoy. All right. Let's talk about our topics today. Is a Talent LMS for hybrid learning. Later, we are going to deep dive to discuss why hybrid learning is suitable for today's working environment, how to implement hybrid learning, and what can Talent LMS do in supporting hybrid learning. Today, we are excited to have our partner from Epinosis, Chris Matthopoulos. This is the pictures that we took at London Learning Technology London's back in 2020. Chris is the head of alliances at Epinosis, responsible for the reseller network and strategic technology partnership. He has a strong interest in technology, especially in e-learning. Chris has been with Epinosis for over 12 years, enjoying the transition from a startup to the market leader in the learning management category. Well, for more than 6 years, eLearning Minds have been working with Chris and Epinosis in implementing Talent LMS for more than 40 organizations, supporting more than 100,000 users worldwide. Are you ready? Great. Let's welcome Chris. Hi, Chris. Yeah. Hold on, Chris. Yeah, do we able to hear?
Yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, Chris.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Sharon. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, thanks for wake up early in the morning. I know you're calling in all the way from Athens. Our folks can't wait to hear your sharings today. So I will pass the floors to you, and later we will catch up again.
Great, thank you, Sharon.
Yep.
So hello everyone. So as Sharon mentioned, so my name is Chris Matthopoulos. I'm head of alliances at Epinosis. Just to start off, I just want to quickly run through what we'll be looking at today. So we'll be going through just a very quick overview of Epinosis. We'll then have a quick look at what hybrid work environment and learning actually mean, and how we can also revolutionize hybrid learning with Talent LMS. And we'll finish off with some examples of the local customers that eLearning Minds have with Talent LMS. So to start off, epignosis or epignosis, it's actually a Greek word which means to have knowledge. And we are actually a leading technology vendor specializing in e-learning solutions with over 15 years experience. Our mission is to democratize learning through the delivery of best-in-class digital learning solutions focused on superior ease of use and disruptive pricing. We have a rapidly growing footprint, and we have global, 5 locations around the world, and with high growth year on year. And here you can see a breakdown of some of where our customers are mainly from. So 6% are actually in North America. Then we have 24% in Europe, but we're seeing a big increase in demand from both South America and Southeast Asia. So as a company, Epignosis, we're actually vendors of 3 different e-learning solutions. So we have eFront, which is enterprise LMS, which is very flexible to support pretty much any need that a customer may have. We then have Talent LMS, which is what we'll be looking at today in more depth, which is our cloud-based learning management system. And we also have Talent Cards, which is our mobile micro-learning solution, dedicated to deliver micro-learning through native apps. All three solutions share the same DNA, which are to be fully featured, high customer satisfaction, cost-effective, quick time to value, and ease of use. We have numerous awards and across our solutions, across multiple categories, and here are just some of them that you can see here. And we have over 11,000 customers worldwide, and these are some of the logos of those customers that have that we've partnered with. So today we'll be looking at hybrid learning with Talent LMS, and in line with the WHW series, we'll be having a look at why hybrid, both the work environment and learning, how to conduct hybrid learning, and what Talent LMS actually offers for hybrid learning. So why hybrid? So in 2020, it was remote work. Now, post-pandemic, we're in the era of hybrid work. So what does hybrid work environment actually mean? Well, this is a term that, and a model that was implemented post-pandemic in order to make employees and employers return to the office without risking safety. Companies don't want to obviously abandon their offices, but don't want to also lose their employees who are actually working very effectively from home and prefer to stay, and continue working from home. Now we have, what I want to do here is quickly touch on some of the challenges that the hybrid model may bring and how understanding them can help you with your transition. So first of all, communication. Communication can be hard in a hybrid environment. It's technology has really been helpful since the pandemic started in March 2020, but it also comes with various issues. The internet connection may not always be reliable. The video conferencing systems may temporarily have issues. It's been a challenge for the remote work, and but we found ways to tackle this problem. And but the hybrid also brings new challenges. For example, some employees are in the office while others are working from home. So you have to host meetings for everyone. And so being, for example, some of the challenges that you may find are, will employees in the office log in from one computer, or will they join independently like employees from home? And so, so these, certain trivial matters may seem obvious, but this has led to some complexity. Coordination can be imbalanced. Similar to the communication issues, coordination can be difficult when dealing with a hybrid work environment. When it comes to collaborative tasks, synchronizing is key. Working with hybrid teams causes more challenges in coordination than working face-to-face. A third point is the proximity bias, and this is where the employees with close proximity, physical proximity to other team members and company leaders will be considered more competent and will become more successful in the workplace than the remote co-workers. This can cause less inclusive workspaces, and both remote and hybrid employees feel like their efforts are not being fully acknowledged. This is why proximity bias needs to be taken into consideration and tackled when planning hybrid work environment for your company. And one last point that I want to go through is creativity. So creativity was a main issue during remote work. And this is obviously an issue in the hybrid environment as well. So, being able to interact with colleagues also has been shown to improve creativity rather than being, at home or in a confined space without interaction. Now that we've seen some of the challenges that may arise with a hybrid workspace, let's see how we can avoid them. So first of all, it is key to make sure that communication is made clear and a priority. Make sure you have specific channels to tackle particular issues. For example, you may have a Slack channel by topic, and so and being quite strict about what is discussed in each channel is important. Second, you need to make sure you enhance personal connections and find ways to keep the workforce united. For example, icebreaker meetings with your new hires or virtual break rooms where employees can chat. At the same time, encourage active collaboration among employees by promoting discussion boards or creating a gamification scheme. And thirdly, invest in digital literacy and tools. Not all employees are tech savvy. Provide online training to how to successfully use video conferencing tools, discussion boards, and other communication channels. Now, Talent LMS and SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management, partnered in 2022 to conduct a survey from two different perspectives, both the employees and employers. Some of the key findings, so there's many findings here, and this report is available on our website as well. But some of the key findings are that 76% of employees agree that they're more likely to stay with a company that offers continuous training. So training is a very important piece to maintain and to continuously invest in. L&D budgets have increased since the pandemic outbreak, and upskilling and reskilling are key to building competencies among employees. We asked HR leaders if they plan in investing in upskilling, and unsurprisingly, the majority said yes. Specifically, over half HR leaders will provide employees with upskilling and reskilling. Now, to have a look. So another key finding of the survey was the skills gap and overcoming the shortage of in-demand skills. Organizations are grappling with skills shortages. Some predict that this may endanger economic recovery, and others that over half the global workforce will need new skills in the next 5 years. Data from the survey suggests that more than 1 in 2 HR managers agree that their company is facing a skills gap. So this is very important to take note of, and make sure that you're investing in your employees, not only for the company to have access to the skills that are required, but also for their own personal growth, which we'll have a look at these in more detail. So a hybrid workplace needs specialized learning as well. So this can be split into 2 main areas. So first of all, you need to optimize your training or your courses for the hybrid environment. And second of all, obviously, you need to make sure you have the right tool to support it. So hybrid learning the hybrid workforce needs special treatment when it comes to training. Teams may be split into remote and in-office, and it can be challenging to provide both groups with consistent and meaningful training. This all means developing new policies. It also means a big focus on learning and development tailored to meet the needs of a hybrid workplace for each employee. Hybrid learning is a comprehensive approach to combining the best parts of face-to-face and online learning to create the ideal learning experience. So some of the trainings that are ideal for the transition to a hybrid workplace include centralizing your training. So a central hub for all your training content that employees can access both on their phones and on the desktop. Employees need to be able to access the training materials easily. Having one source of truth is crucial. Add gamification elements. Adding gamification elements like scoreboards or badges and points is a good idea, but is critical when when working in a hybrid environment to enhance interaction between users and strengthen connections and friendly competition. Rely on self-paced learning. Although instructor-led training is important and should be part of every learning program, focusing on self-paced learning can help a lot when your employees have a flexible work schedule. Allowing learners to take courses at their own pace eliminates the stress of trying to schedule webinars everyone can attend. Build micro-learning sessions. Microlearning is here to stay, and for good reason. Dividing the content into easily to digest chunks makes it easier for employees to complete their training. Offer optional training courses. Optional training may boost your employees' confidence and their communication to your company. And it doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Giving your employees access to a frequently updated repository of ready-to-made courses will go a long way towards setting them up for success. Making training a natural part of the workday. Training shouldn't be an extra part of an employee's day, but a natural part of what they normally do. Especially on a flexible work schedule, your employees should engage with training not because they have to, but because it's relevant to what they're doing all day. And last but not least, test and adjust. As employees settle into their new work routines and schedules, you may notice some parts of training are more impactful than others. Collecting feedback from your learners and keeping a close eye on your KPIs will go a long way to pivoting your strategy when needed. So flexible work also requires new skills too. It's clear that transitioning to flexible work will require companies to rethink their training delivery methods, but the training content itself should also be re-examined. Every change brings its own share of uncertainty, and with your teams more spread out than ever before, your employees will need to develop new skills in order to feel confident and perform well. So here are some of the soft skills that we've shortlisted that you should be focusing on in 2022. So first of all, asynchronous communication. Communication between distributed teams has its own etiquette. Your employees will need to learn to express themselves in writing more concisely than ever before. You'll need to get to the point quickly and exercise better judgment when it comes to asking questions or clarifications, as they won't necessarily get answers in real time. Thankfully, all these things can be taught and practiced. Ownership. Flexible work means that your employees will often have to take ownership of their work. This can be tricky if they're used to a system where they've been closely managed by their supervisors. Teaching people to take ownership goes hand in hand with building confidence and not being afraid of making mistakes. Agility, perhaps one of the most important skills nowadays. The pandemic has proved that things can change fast, and the companies that kept growing were the ones who were able to pivot and adapt. Your employees need to develop an agile mindset so they can tackle any obstacles and changes that come their way. Avoiding burnout. Yes, that is a skill. Many of your employees may struggle with a new flexible work arrangement and feel the need to always do more in order to make up the most for lost time. And if they don't know how to listen to their body or respect their limits, this could easily lead to them burning out. Teaching them how to divide their energy and focus is key to avoiding that. Proper delegation. Similarly, many of your employees and managers may take on more tasks than before, perhaps out of uncertainty whether they can trust their team members to do their part. Learning to properly delegate tasks and leaning into each other's talents is vital to any successful team. And finally, feedback. Flexible work and asynchronous communication will require frequent and actionable feedback in order for your team to thrive. Your managers, in particular, will need to relearn how to offer feedback to their teams since they won't always be able to do this in person. Now, so revamping your training strategy. Flexible work is an attractive idea, but with many benefits, but it should not equate to more hassle, less training. Your employees' career development is important, both for them and for the future of your company. And it shouldn't be sacrificed in order for them to work faster or more. If you want flexible work strategy to have the desired results, your training strategy should also follow suit. So here, we've identified some learning strategies for the hybrid workplace. So first of all, prioritize communication skills. The hybrid workplace can create a divisive culture if not careful. Many companies are turning to soft skills training to keep everyone on the same page. Your training content should reflect the communication challenges that distributed teams face. For example, you might want to train people on the messaging app you're using or how to improve their writing skills. Crafting an email may sound like a basic task, but crafting an effective email could help avoid miscommunications, especially when team members who are in different locations and can't discuss issues on the spot. Focus on leadership training. Managing a hybrid workforce is a challenge of its own and requires the unique skill set. This is why many companies focus on bringing employees up to speed on key leadership skills. Leaders need to be able to communicate in ways that give employees a sense of belonging. They need to be able to hold people accountable to outcomes, and they need to understand and work with new levels of flexibility and trust. Reduce in-person training. Balancing in-person with remote training is difficult with various schedules and locations. Live training sessions can leave remote employees behind, and it's hard to be inclusive with some attending in person and some online. Transition as much as possible to online and make your LMS the one source of truth. It also makes sure each employee has the same training experience. So choose cloud-based training solutions. For many companies, the transition to hybrid work also means greater reliance on e-learning. Asynchronous self-paced training is an elegant solution when you've got employees working across locations and sometimes time zones. It lets people complete training in their own pace, wherever and whenever it makes sense for them. And while this is convenient for the employee side, it does create challenges on the admin side. Hosting one on-site workshop for all is difficult, but when you have to roll out different training sessions on a regular basis, customized for different groups and track their progress, these difficulties are magnified. This is where a good LMS can help. In other words, a platform that can host dynamic, engaging content and also automate and manage individual learning. Customize content for each group. You may also find value in customizing content for remote versus co-located employees. Where an employee works from will affect how they do their job, and you can help them with tailored training. For example, training for remote workers may include specific content around what's needed to provide quality online customer service or deal with distractions at home. Likewise, training on workplace hazards might be relevant only for in-office employees. In any case, the key is to adapt your content to ensure everyone gets consistent and meaningful training, and decide whether it makes sense for some courses to be exclusive to only one group. Make room for interaction. When people are working in different locations and using different processes, the culture can start to feel dispersed. In a hybrid workplace, there is risk of proximity bias, and therefore favoritism or cliches can poison your company culture. You can help reduce polarization by making training a place where people interact and build relationships. You can boost interaction by setting up or discussion threads dedicated to talking about the training content. Strengthen your hybrid workforce. Adjust your training to strengthen your hybrid workforce. Designing how you're going to train your teams is critical, and it's not just about the operational aspect, i.e. choosing online training so that everyone gets access from everywhere. What your training will include and how you'll engage your learners will play a big part in building a successful hybrid workplace. This new way of working requires new skills, like stronger communication skills, and creates new needs when it comes to trust and interaction between co-workers. To address all these new challenges, you need an agile learning and development program, one that takes into account employees' current needs and provides them with useful skills and knowledges. Revolutionize hybrid learning with Talent LMS. So let's have a look at why Talent LMS. So Talent LMS is easy to use and setup is incredibly simple. Flexibility is available with Talent LMS to support your growing needs as you grow. You can customize Talent LMS so you can white label both your portal and your mobile app to match your branding. Talent LMS is made available with Talent Library, which is our off-the-shelf content offering. Talent Library courses are dynamic, animated, and interactive, created by experts and designed to be engaging. And each course is made up of mini lessons between 2 to 3 minutes each. Talent LMS is also available with dedicated mobile apps for both iOS and Android. Talent LMS mobile app supports a variety of different types of content, including SCORM, and courses can be downloaded to be accessed offline. Mobile apps give users access to all the gamification features to gamify their experience as well. So Talent LMS can be used for a variety of use cases. What we've been discussing so far is, of course, the employee training use case, which can support onboarding, ongoing training, as we saw, and so on. But Talent LMS can also be used for extended enterprise training, for example, partner training or customer training, but also to actually sell courses online. These can also be used at the same time. So you don't have to use Talent LMS just for one. You can use them for more than one of these use cases at one time. So let's have a look at Talent LMS, how Talent LMS delivers for hybrid learning. So Talent LMS helps deliver both functional and immersive courses optimized for hybrid learning. Also to point out that Talent LMS has actually received a best LMS for hybrid learning by third-party reviews on sites such as eLearning Industry, and the badge here as well. So one of the main areas that trainers struggle with is producing engaging courses for hybrid learning. Talent LMS makes it easy to create courses optimized for a variety of delivery methods with its flexible course editor that supports a variety of content types from video to PowerPoint, PDF, text, together with both surveys and tests in any order. Instructor-led sessions can also be included, which can be both physical or virtual through the integrations with multiple web conferencing tools such as Zoom, GoToMeeting, and Microsoft Teams. Courses may also reward certificates based on flexible rules to reflect the required use case. Engaging courses result in engaged learners, which in turn result in better performing learning programs and increased return on investment. Remember, courses optimized for hybrid are not just blended synchronous and asynchronous training, but the synchronous parts are optimized for a hybrid environment. So people both joining in person, but also virtually. So this is vital when considering your blended courses for a hybrid environment. Some of the other main points here that Talent LMS offers for hybrid learning is, first of all, gamification. So Talent LMS offers some of the most popular battle-tested gamification techniques, such as points, badges, levels, leaderboards, and rewards. But also, allows learners to connect virtually through the integrations with Zoom, GoToMeeting, and Teams. So those were some of the main points I wanted to touch base with you today. And so at this point, I would like to hand over to Sharon so that we can go through some of the local examples that Sharon mentioned, you're working with locally.
All right, thank you, Chris. I think absolutely, based on the points you mentioned, in fact, hybrid working, it become one of the key trends, right, in Malaysia as well, or in this region. And those are the key points that are really some of the pain points, and as well as, it's a good tips for us, to basically to address what are the upcoming challenges may coming on board, right? Yeah. I think this one later we can discuss a little bit more. I believe that certain questions has been dropped into our Q&A chat box. So please do ask more questions, and we will later address more during the Q&A session. All right. So for this part, I think I'm going to share on that's one particular local use cases. All right. So this is where we talk about one of the use cases that we had with one of the organization. Well, before the pandemics, all right. So most of the people basically go to classroom learning. I think so nobody's talk about using a virtual, right? Even hybrid, not even think about hybrids, right? And then of course, then after during the pandemic, of course, people kind of convert the classroom, all right, move into the virtual. So meaning it's still the same trainer, same piece of the content, but just moving from physical to virtual, right? But of course, now after the post-pandemic, okay, more people, find either classroom or just virtual training may not be work for them. This is where we talk about after the pandemic, the hybrid learning will be more fit into the requirement, because people simply may not be able to spend too much hours into whether it's purely virtual or classroom, right, due to the engagement, live engagements with the trainer. So hybrid will come into a good place whereby you can have the best of the both parts. Okay, so when we talk about hybrid learning, then the challenges come, right? Because how are we going to manage the virtual? How we manage the learners when they work virtually, or they learn virtually, right? So this is where we we must implement a proper hybrid learnings, which is require a proper LMS, all right, or platform to support the delivery of the blended learning. So this is why LMS is very important. Based on our past experience, many customers, when they move into e-learning, right, without having a proper LMS, it's very difficult to manage. Especially you are support hundreds or even thousands of them, right? Data flowing around, how you're going to effectively manage, or even the learner experience, right, without the LMS. Okay. So this is the case study that, introduction to the case study that we worked during the pandemic, right? So we're working with one of the learning institution, which is purely provide banking training institution for the region, all right? So they offer professional qualifications, right? Meaning that they required the peoples to be available, to be certified, no matter what, right? And then, of course, another requirements comes into that this organization basically train 200 classes a year, imagine, right? So the trainer has to repeat themselves over and over again due to the high demands of this particular course. So the challenges come, when come to the lockdown, right? When the lockdown happens, basically all the training suspended, okay? No more classes. And of course, but the problem is that the bank employee need to be trained for their compliance requirement, because this is by the central banks. You required to get your employees to be certified, okay? And then when locked down, and employee also reluctant to travel due to, they reluctant to travel for training because there's uncertainties, right? And also the banks also doesn't want to risk their employees in risk, because they're exposed to the viruses, and then, it's very lots of uncertainties, right? And then that's why the learning institutions start to offer virtual training, okay? So again, from a physical classroom, then they move the entire process into virtual, right? Then the challenges is that the learner and the trainer also having challenges to adjust to the long hours of virtual training. Okay, these classes used to conduct from 9 to 5. When they apply the similar time, same materials, move from physical to virtual, That's why, there are hours that people looking at the screen and listen to the class by the trainer. And that's the problem, that do not meet their learning outcomes, right? People getting tired, same goes to the trainer, get tired as well. Okay, so the solutions when clients come to us, right, then this is where we propose the solution, all right? So we propose the solutions to transform a 9 to 5 classroom training become a blended approach. Yeah. Okay, then of course, the first thing we do, basically, we just convert those content or teaching materials into interactive online learning content, right? So this one, I think it's like more than 60 or 50 of slides, right? Basically, we just transform everything in the instructional sound, kind of a interactive content make available. And the next things that we introduce Talent LMS to deliver and manage all the learning activities. Yep. Okay, so this is where the solutions that we provide. So we also redesign the learner journey as well. So first of all, instead of last time, the learner has to go clock into the classroom and then sit throughout the day, and then they've been done with the, all the informations, slides and slides. So this is there. The journey or the experience become, the learner will go through the self-paced online learning content, all right, through the LMS. And then after that, the learners can select the virtual instructor lab session. So every week, the trainer will basically prepare 2 different sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So they allow the learners, to choose which ILT sessions or VILT sessions that they want to attend that fit their time. Okay. Then of course, after that, they complete the virtual session with the trainer. Then of course, they will need to complete a survey. Okay. By completing the survey, this is where they will basically, a certificate completion will be issued to the learner. Right. Imagine from a 1-day classroom experience, this is where we design for the entire blended learning approach. Okay. All right. So of course, we transform, and then from a 1 full day into a 9 days blended learning experience. All right. Of course, there's a reason why we put in 9 days, so that the learner has sufficient times to download the mobile apps, get the access to the LMS, and we also give them an over weekend. So in case that, during workday, they may not have time, weekend, they will have able to spare some times for their learning. And then, of course, the following weeks of the, there's particular day, this is where they can choose, okay, which are the slots that is made available for them to join the virtual session. Okay, so these solutions, when we propose and we design entirely in Talent LMS, all right? So the whole learning approach, first of all, this is where, as a learner, they will be enrolled to the so-called the learning courses. This is the online courses that they were enrolled to it, right? Just a mock-up. Okay, then after that, of course, the learner will go through the e-learning content as what we developed for them, right? It's a fully interactive instructor sound kind of a learning content. So after they complete, they complete the online learning, right? Then only they will be assigned to an assessment, right? This is where, the so-called we can basically to check how well they understand about the particular topics, right? So if they fail the assessment, they need to go back, they can redo the assessment until they get it right. Okay. Of course, if they need to go back to the content, they can always go back and refer to the online content. Okay. So when they pass the assessment, the next thing is that they will open for the instructor led training. Of course, here, the clients can be used Zoom or even, Teams to conduct or to schedule this ILT training. As I mentioned, when they go in, they can choose which sessions that they want. Okay, so of course, once they complete the IoT session, which is conducted by trainers, live but virtually, and then so that they need to complete a survey of the entire experience on this blended learning experience. And last but not least, upon completed, right, this is where they will get the certificates, okay, issued by the learning institutions, all right. And this is where to basically to certify that they actually, they are the, certified, they have completed this certification program. Okay. Then the entire thing basically experience also support by the notification. All right. So meaning that, all the automation notification can be set in Tele LMS, and they will be reminder upon being enrolled, when they didn't complete the, the courses on certain periods of time, and the notification will kicks in. And this is really help the trainers a lot, right? The trainer doesn't need to go through one by one and, checking on their progress and all that. So this will basically automatically set in all the every milestone. Okay, we can triggers the notification. Okay, and more importantly is that the entire experience can be on the mobile apps or web browsers or across any devices, as what Chris mentioned. They can even download the content offline and view within the mobile apps, right? So this is really a seamless process to support the entire blended learning for this particular course. Okay, let's move into what's the result, right? So for your information, these classes has been running for the last, 2 years, coming to 2 years right now. All right. For the institution, I think a very important business as usual. All right. I remember we have the lockdown back in the March 2020. And, this course, I believe we rolled out somewhere around in August 2020. And, since then, this class never stopped, right? So I think every week they still got, people enrolled to the course. So business as usual, it doesn't affect it no matter. I think we also got a couple of lockdowns, after that. And I think it's importantly meet the demands of the clients, right? We managed to transform the entire with the blended learning approach to able to continue to cater the demand, not just for during the pandemic, even now after the pandemic. Okay, so the trainer basically found this entire, transformation. They found now is more effective and flexible, compared to those days, right? So now the trainers can manage the learners' progress via the LMS. Okay, so they can go and check, what's their progress, how they are doing it. So this is one of the benefits, and also they can engage the learners better in the virtual IoT session. So meaning during the IoT sessions, he or she no longer deliver the teaching, but very much, share the latest case study or even engage, with the learners better. All right. And also the more important, they can keep the contents up to date, right, through the learning management system. I think that's important, to have all the case study or use cases to be updated. Okay, how about the bank, right? The entity. I think after the transformation, the bank found that there's a lot of cost saving because, those days they need to pay for the accommodation, transportation, and even, taking a staff off the day from the work is also a cost, right? And then, of course, now, the bank also have the clarity in some of their staff learning progress. Okay, that's important. So they know how they perform, whether they're doing well. And I think it's very important is that the employee can comply to the compliance policies anywhere, anytime. And of course, they also have a low risk, in terms of not putting their staff with the big groups of people trainings together. Okay. How about learners, right? Of course, the learners are also found engaged and effective because now they can learn via the web or mobile apps. Of course, they do not restricted the time or location. They can learn anywhere, anytime, right? And also meeting the learning outcomes. Because it's important, many times that, we put people into the training, whether physical or virtual. Are the learner ready to be trained? All right. You have even 2 hours, 3 hours of engagement, but sometimes, trainer may not be ready due to some other work related, or, maybe the environment is not allowed, or even maybe the persons are not ready to learn, right? By introducing this blended approach, meaning that I can decide, which are the best time, I can learn those content, and then I can able to perform. Of course, eventually it really meets the learning outcomes, right? So this is where we found that, it's one of very successful story. And we see more and more organizations that request to move into this mode, where you can really find the good balance between, the online as well as the offline learnings comes in together. All right. Okay. So I think that's end of my sessions about the case study. I think, okay, great. So the next thing, I think, Chris, we can pick up some of the questions. So maybe we can discuss about it, right? Let's see
Yep.
the question. All right. So what are the trainings available with the ready content that offering in Talent Library?
Okay, yeah, great question. So yeah, as we saw briefly in my presentation, the Talent Library offers a variety of different types of course categories.
Mm-hmm.
The idea behind Talent Library is to offer generic soft skills that are applicable to everyone, and
Yep.
so these are things like leadership training or project management or marketing training, customer success, sales training that are applicable to all customers across different verticals. And yeah, so this is what Talent Library has, and it does very well. And as we saw, it is very engaging content, which will help to keep learners engaged and ultimately ensure help improve the effectiveness of the learning program.
Yeah, in fact, one of our customer found that those learning content is very good to prepare, to align everybody, right, to understand about the context, for example, leadership, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so leadership can be have a different understanding for different levels of, employee, right? For executive, non-executive, all the ways to the middle management, right? So I think by introducing the learning content, basically to set the, very basic fundamental stage for everybody understand about the topic, all right, which
Mm-hmm.
can, very useful to support, especially when people working virtually or they can learn to, with a branded approach. And then, of course, you can later come up, to have the virtual sessions to close the gaps and all that. Yeah, I think this is one of the
Yeah.
a very good contents to be able to utilize. Yeah, just one of the use cases by our clients, right?
Yeah, of course, and also each customer will always have other specific training requirements as well, which is where you guys, e-learning minds offer content services, and you can help customers to create specific training that is necessary for them for each particular customer. Whereas Talent Library is more the generic content that can help, as you mentioned, give a basis for all users, no matter their role.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm quite also amazed that the growth of the libraries has been, quite fast in terms of, meeting the requirements in the needs of the markets as well. All right. Let's look at the next question. So for hybrid workplace, training should be curated and optimized for hybrid learning. What about training for deskless workers? For example, like restaurant, logistic, people are not always sticking with their desktop, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the good suggestion?
Yeah, that's another great question. I mean, yeah, obviously we have, on Talent LMS, we have the mobile app, which can be used to, deliver training to deskless workers where, they have access on the go to the trainings, without having to log on from a laptop, even or, maybe a desktop. But, depending on the particular use case, you may also want to consider Talent Cards, which is a mobile micro learning solution, and has been optimized to deliver training to learners on the mobile applications, and can be very effective in delivering more informal type training. I would say, for more formal type training, I would stick with Talent LMS, but for more informal type training, for example, having a checklist of how to open up a coffee shop, or how to clean up a coffee shop at the end of the day, how to clean the coffee machine, how to turn off the lights, all the steps that you need to employees need to follow. It's very helpful to incorporate these into talent cards. And by the way, it also includes QR code functionality, which allows employees or learners to quickly scan a QR code, which could be placed, different locations, maybe in a particular room or in a particular on a particular machine, and that will then pop up the relevant card set on the go. So it's very effective in getting access quickly to specific pieces of knowledge, this is ultimately very helpful for deskless workers.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I can see the benefits of having these, especially like things like QR code, right? You can really learn things by on demand. Yeah. So instead of the conventional way, people need to log in and then search through. And this is something that, with a quick fix, and then you can quickly scan and then, bring you to that particular contents for you to learn. Yep, I think this is a good recommendation. All right. We will try to see more questions. All right. What social collaboration tools are available on Talent LMS? Yeah, I think social collaborations is important part of the learning.
Yeah, of course. As we both mentioned earlier today, this is key in a hybrid learning environment where, enhancing communication between learners and collaboration is very helpful for them, but also, as part of the learning process. So on Talent LMS, specifically, we have the discussion forums, which can be made available at a variety of levels. For example, you can make it available at a course level, to make it course specific. So any user that is enrolled or part of a particular course can have access to that discussion forum and collaborate with other users there to maybe share some of their thoughts, some of their findings, and help spur discussion around those learnings. And then, of course, you can also do this at a group level on Talent LMS, which can, to make it clearly understandable, this could, groups on Talent LMS could reflect job roles or departments within an organization, and hence, so you can also, spur discussions at those levels as well. So, these are, a variety of ways that you can enhance the social collaboration within Talent LMS. But of course, there are numerous collaboration channels and tools out there. For example, Slack. We use as a company, we use Slack, religiously. We have a lot of different channels on our company Slack, and there is an integration between Talent LMS and Slack, which allows you to post various activities from Talent LMS directly to Slack.
Yeah, I think which is so true that in fact one of the challenges that were use cases that we had is like client without having LMS, they use WhatsApps, or Telegrams to do all the communications, and really it's not easy to manage when you are dealing with a big groups of people, right? So this is where we basically help the clients to make use of the discussion forum in Talent LMS in managing all their communication centralized, right? And then you can get the instructor or trainers to really able to address, follow the threads. Sometimes, in WhatsApp and all that can be very messy in managing all the threads and all that. Yeah. Okay, very soon we left with about 5 minutes, so we hope to cover more of the questions. Okay, so how does Talent LMS help to track the learning progress?
Okay, so this, on Talent LMS, we have several inbuilt reports which allow administrators and managers to access the progress of their learners. And so these are available in a variety of formats. But we also have a custom report generator within Talent LMS, allowing you to get into specifics that you're looking to track, and to have at a glance access to the information that you need. So Talent LMS has a very comprehensive and in-depth reporting suite.
Yeah. This is in fact, a lots of clients are really depending on the learning progress to able to come out a better learning strategies, right? In how to measure or how to improve the learning programs, or even like how to curate a better, contents to support their learning process. Yeah. I think we have two more questions to answer. How does Talent LMS help to promote learning in collaborative manner?
Okay. So there is, obviously, as part of the typical learning delivery, you schedule courses to be, pushed out, at regular intervals. But it can also be used to promote learning, more collaborative, using those social collaboration tools that we touched on earlier, the discussion forums at different levels, and this is really where you can help to ensure learning at different levels of collaboration. So I think that's one of the main things, and I don't have another answer
Yeah,
for that
maybe
at the
one
moment.
one of the things, but our experience is that we also uses a lots of those inbox messaging functions in Talent LMS that also make available in mobile apps. So you can do one-to-one communication. You can also, like, trainer can do one-to-many collaboration apart from discussion forum, because discussion forum normally is very much driving certain topics to be discussed, right? Yeah, so it's very, apart from that, you can use like inbox messaging or via emails. Yeah, you can use that to support the collaborative learning. Okay, I think we come to the last question. Okay, so basically, how does the talent content library is appropriate to suit the proficiency level across all levels?
So on the talent library, we have numerous different collections. So I mentioned earlier regarding sales training, and marketing and so on. But each category also has subcategories where you have the essentials, which are more the basics of, and then more advanced, a more advanced collection to go into more in-depth detail at a higher level of proficiency on that particular topic. So the talent library includes multiple collections and different levels of proficiency as well.
Yep. All right. I think we have a good, interesting question. I think we are a bit overrun for today. And then, of course, if you still have more questions, we definitely able to come back to you for those that we are not able to answer to you. And then I think through these sessions, I hope that you can start the conversation with your L&D to discuss about hybrid learning for your organizations, right? Our webinar session is close to the end. If you still have more questions and query, do reach out to us, and we or maybe Chris, we would love to share our experience with you, right? Post to us. And really thank you today to Chris, for your great sharings today.
Thank you, Sharon. It's been a pleasure joining you, and I hope this was a useful session for everyone. But yeah, we're always here to help, so let us know how we can help.
Yeah, I hope that we can do more of these sessions, in upcoming months. Definitely we will, bring you and discuss a lot more other topics as well. Thanks, Chris.
Great. Thank you, Sharon. Bye. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So, okay. So there's a few more announcements I want to make, firstly, you'll be getting an email from us to share your feedback. And also do let us know if there's any topics that you hope to join in the future. Okay, so now I would like to share with you our next upcoming webinar topic that will be making hybrid work. So how to prepare you for hybrid working culture, right? Hybrid working is fast coming to the new norm in Malaysia, with the upcoming hybrid working policy will come effectively on 1st January 2020. So, we also talk to a lot of organizations. Are you ready? Right? Because it will come with many challenges for workers or even managers to work in hybrid setting, especially in terms of management and measuring performance. I think this is a topic, is going to be discussed about it. And in this webinar, we will discuss the challenges, benefits, and how better to prepare yourself for the upcoming hybrid working policy. All right. For this upcoming webinar, we are going to have a great speaker, Martin Edison, the CEO of Video Arts, to share this topic, and you can find out more on our website. Well, this webinar is wrapped, and hope you had a great session with us, and we will see you in our next webinar. Bye.
Making hybrid work. Prepare for your hybrid working culture. Hybrid working is the new norm in Malaysia with the upcoming hybrid working policy effective January 2023. Challenges include management issues, measuring performance, lack of communication. Some of the topics we will be discussing: how many employees actually prefer hybrid working as opposed to their managers, leaders. Challenges and benefits of hybrid working. Practical tips you can take away. Join us. See you there. Click the link to register.